The top 5 luckiest NBA franchises of all time. Before I get started, this list is not in order, but it is my top 5 luckiest NBA franchises. Some NBA franchises have had all the luck in the world, whilst other NBA teams have struggled. I've already shown you guys my top 5 unluckiest NBA franchises of all time, but now it's time to switch it up. The main cause of a lot of these teams getting lucky is either because of the draft lottery or the actual draft itself. This is my top 5 luckiest NBA franchises of all time, but it's probably going to be different from yours, so comment down below any other franchises that you think have been lucky. And while you're at it, smash this video with a thumbs up rating if you're ready for the next one, and subscribe to watch more. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it. In 1985, the NBA started using a lottery to determine the draft order. The league switched to a weighted system in 1990 and devised the current 1000 ping pong method in 1994. Some organizations have experienced a lot of luck through the draft, whilst other teams can't even catch a break. So here are the lucky 5. Number 1, the San Antonio Spurs. Don't get me wrong, the Spurs management is definitely, in my opinion, the best in the entire NBA, and it has been for a long time. The draft selections, the trades they've made, as well as the recent free agent signings have been because of their superior organization and management. But surely some of it has to be based off luck, right? San Antonio's good fortune is unparalleled, posting the 4th worst record in 1987 behind the New Jersey Nets, the New York Knicks, and the Los Angeles Clippers. The Spurs ended up actually getting the number 1 overall pick in that draft, and they landed David Robinson in the 1987 NBA draft with the number 1 overall pick, jumping over 3 other teams to get it. Now, that's pretty lucky if you ask me. The Spurs had similar karma in 1997 with Tim Duncan. They finished behind the Grizzlies and the Celtics, but they still ended up getting the 1st overall pick and selecting Tim Duncan, who was arguably the greatest power forward of all time. As a result, it meant the frontcourt duo known as the Twin Towers led the Spurs to 2 NBA championships in 1999 and in 2003. The Spurs have hit the jackpot on the NBA draft lottery twice, and both number 1 overall picks turned out to be 7-foot Hall of Famers with no apparent locker room issues. But in their defense, the Spurs have managed to win consistently in a smaller market by making amazing front office decisions. But it never hurts to be lucky. The Spurs in recent years have made amazing moves. They picked up Tony Parker at pick 28, Manu Ginobili at pick 57, and traded for Kawhi Leonard during the draft of 2011, as well as signing amazing power forward and 5-time All-Star LaMarcus Aldridge during the 2015 offseason. The Spurs have been lucky in some areas, but majority of their success has been off great moves by the management. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers. You knew this team had to be up in here somewhere, right? The Chicago Bulls, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Philadelphia 76ers have accumulated the most top 3 picks in the past 20 years. However, the Cleveland Cavaliers have received by far the most first picks in the lottery. The Cavaliers, who luck into the top pick multiple times. If we're talking about luck, it's Cleveland. I mean 3 number 1 overall picks in 2011, 2013, and 2014, selecting Kyrie Irving, Anthony Bennett, and Andrew Wiggins. Now, the 2011 draft pick was one of the luckiest picks for Cleveland since it wasn't actually their pick. The odds of getting the number 1 overall pick that season was at 2.8%. The Cavs acquired the Clippers' 1st round pick in a mid-season trade. LA won 32 games that season and had the 8th best lottery odds, but the ping pong balls allowed Cleveland to acquire the future All-Star point guard Kyrie Irving. The trade would look like this. The Cleveland Cavaliers sent Mo Williams and Jamario Moon to the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Clippers sent Baron Davis and a 1st round pick, which ended up being Kyrie Irving, to Cleveland. The Cavaliers basically traded Mo Williams for Kyrie Irving. Yeah, pretty lucky by Cleveland. Not to mention, they kept their own pick and took one of the best offensive rebounders in the game with pick number 4. They got Tristan Thompson. No team has benefited from recent lottery luck more than the Cleveland Cavaliers. In the 2014 NBA draft, they had the 9th best odds of getting the top pick. In other words, at a 1.7% chance at the number 1 overall pick. But somehow they managed to get it anyway. Is the NBA rigged? Probably. I made a video on that one as well. But anyway, they ended up drafting top prospect Andrew Wiggins, and then shipped him over to Minnesota in a trade for Kevin Love, allowing them to lure LeBron James back to Cleveland and instantly become a title contender. Having all these first round picks go towards the Cleveland Cavaliers, it ended up resulting in LeBron James returning to Cleveland, as well as they would use both Bennett and Wiggins as trade pieces to acquire Kevin Love. As a result, it meant LeBron went back home, and these guys have been fighting in the NBA for the last 2 years trying to win championships. This year though, I don't know if they're doing too well. Number 3, the Chicago Bulls. You know that you're a lucky franchise when you land not only the youngest MVP winner of all time at a 1.7% chance, but when you land the greatest player of all time as well. During the 1984 NBA draft, Michael Jordan fell right into Chicago's lap at pick number 3. He was picked after Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. Hakeem was understandable since he was a beast. But Sam Bowie, he was a good prospect going into the draft, but as we all know, injuries derailed his career, and that is insane luck by Chicago to draft Michael Jordan with the 3rd overall pick. You cannot tell me that's not lucky, especially with the way that his career played out. It was 6 NBA championships in 8 years, and the greatest basketball player of all time was in Chicago. Both times Chicago had the number 1 overall pick, it produced 2 all-star caliber players. Elton Brand in 1999 and Derrick Rose in 2008. A few years ago now, the Bulls beat the long odds of landing the number 1 overall pick in the 2008 NBA draft. With their 1.7% chance, somehow the NBA luck was on Chicago's side, and they were able to draft the youngest MVP winner and one of the greatest point guards to ever play for Chicago in Derrick Rose. The Bulls figured they had no shot at landing Memphis phenom Derrick Rose. Then, the 2008 draft lottery happened and they leapfrogged over 8 other NBA teams to grab the number 1 overall pick, and they landed one of the most athletic point guards ever. Chicago made the playoffs in 7 consecutive seasons after that. Not to mention they drafted Jimmy Butler with their 30th pick in the 2011 draft. That's pretty lucky in my opinion. Jimmy Butler is turning out to be one of the best players in the league right now, and nobody thought that was going to happen. Not even Jimmy Butler thought that was going to happen. So I guess you could say, yeah, Chicago's pretty lucky. Number 4, the Seattle Supersonics and the Oklahoma City Thunder. During the 2006-07 season, the Supersonics finished with the 5th worst record in the NBA, behind the Grizzlies, the Celtics, the Bucks, and the Hawks. The Seattle Supersonics managed to move up to the number 2 overall pick in the 2007 NBA draft and would select franchise player and future MVP Kevin Durant. I must say, that's pretty lucky. Another reason it's very lucky was because if Durant ended up going number 1 that year to the Portland Trail Blazers, then the Supersonics probably would have drafted Greg Oden, since he was a phenom coming out of high school and he was easily one of the best players to draft that year. And I guess that's why he went number 1. Obviously injuries derailed his career, but you never know what Oden could have become if it wasn't for injuries. Anyway, luckily for Seattle, the Blazers ended up messing up and taking Oden, and Durant was snagged by the Seattle Supersonics. Talk about luck. In 1990, the Supersonics had the 10th worst record in the NBA, but managed to steal the 2nd overall pick and selected Gary Payton, one of the best defensive players of all time and probably the best defensive point guard of all time, not to mention an NBA champion and a 9-time All-Star. When the Seattle Supersonics moved to the Oklahoma City Thunder, not only did they get a new franchise which already had Durant, they managed to add Westbrook and Harden, only to let Harden go. Given the very short time the Thunder have been around, they've had some pretty beast players, and they've been quite lucky. Westbrook and Harden were never supposed to turn out to be the best players at their position, and not to mention, they're one of the biggest MVP candidates in the league right now. They weren't projected that highly in the draft. OKC simply got lucky with their development, and to be honest, if they don't get a title, then it'll go down in history as one of the worst managerial mess-ups in history. In my opinion, I agree that the Thunder have been pretty lucky, although their injury history would be the counter argument to that. Number 5, the Los Angeles Lakers. For 5 decades and counting, the Los Angeles Lakers fans have been blessed with Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant, just to name a few. 7 of the 15 best players ever. But did you realize that Magic Johnson went to the Lakers during the draft, but actually from a trade that happened earlier via the Jazz? Did you realize that Shaq came from Orlando, Kobe was traded from Charlotte to LA on draft night, Wilt was traded to the Lakers, Kareem was also traded to the Lakers? I'm not saying that the Lakers are necessarily lucky because of this, but because obviously good management was key to most of LA's success. But notice how barely any of these players actually got drafted by the Lakers with their own pick. What my point is that because they have been such a successful franchise and they are in Los Angeles, it makes it very enticing for players to want to play there. When a player wants to get traded normally, LA is normally a team that's on their list that they want to get traded to. As a result, the Lakers have gained some very good players over the years, ultimately making them one of the luckiest NBA franchises of all time. Even this year, the Lakers weren't doing too well, and Kobe Bryant retires, but now they've been blessed with pick number 2, and you never know what this pick could become. Brandon Ingram or Ben Simmons in the LA jersey, he might be the next superstar for the Los Angeles Lakers. So those are my top 5 luckiest NBA franchises. Now, let me just say this. This video was extremely hard to make because you have to think about every team, and you have to think about if a certain team has been lucky or if they've just had really good management. Some other teams that have been lucky, I guess I would say the Miami Heat. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but gaining players like Dwayne Wade at pick 5 and acquiring Shaq from LA, bringing the big 3 to Miami and finding a gem in Hassan Whiteside. Obviously, Pat Riley is the main reason for all these players ending up in a Miami Heat uniform, but for a franchise that hasn't been around for a while, they've been pretty lucky as well. So let me know what other teams you feel have been extremely lucky down in the comment section down below. And if you guys want to see other NBA related videos like this one, drop a like on this video and subscribe to keep updated on any time I drop a video like this one. And if you guys want to see the unluckiest NBA franchise video, just click the first link in the description or go down to the comment section. I'll post a comment with a link to that video. You guys can watch it. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I'm preparing a Dwight Howard what if video, but I have 3 more exams. After my exams, I'm done. I'm uploading, and I'm sorry for the wait of the videos. I really apologize. Exams are going ham. I'm trying to upload this while I have exams. Hopefully it works out, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.